Today, what you gonna do when they come for you? Cap cops, cap cops.
God.
It's the video game fuzz.
I mean, given how often they don't give me what I want in my video games, yes.
Call the cap cops. I'm afraid Capcom is probably not going to solve that problem.
Heather didn't know the Globetrotters were real.
Wait, you thought they were from the TV show?
No, I thought they were from Futurama. They're
Oh.
basketball playing wizards. It's the only place I ever saw them.
And I was just like...
And Beach kept talking about them because Chat was talking about them, and then I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And
That
now
was like...
Well,
that
you
was
knew
like,
what I was talking about, but...
Well, yes, but they're magical wizard, 10 feet tall
Time
guys with
traveling.
basketball.
Yeah,
And that's why you don't hate. You're just wrecking
I'm wrecking everything.
it's
Oh my goodness, this is why you're not supposed to hit the desk with your feet.
No.
Hi.
I love
Okay.
that
It's
because
karma for calling me out.
that joke in Futurama is way less funny if you don't know who the Harlem Globetrotters are. It's just like, okay, basketball players, I guess.
So the chat was talking about cartoons, and that it's like, well, anybody got a cartoon, like, the Harlem Globetrotters got a cartoon, and I was like, look, of course they got a cartoon. That's literally their brand is entertaining children and families. That's what they do. It's good, clean fun, and it's and of course they're gonna do stuff.
I also enjoyed the fact that people were mentioning how they get mentioned in The Simpsons. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons as a kid, so I didn't really watch them.
And I was building up to a thing where I'm gonna be like, what's more surprising is Rubik's Cube got a cartoon. Like, people who are like, oh, well, all these whatever. I'm like, of course celebrity people got cartoons.
Who's Rubik's Cube?
The actual Rubik's Cube itself.
Okay. I
Yeah,
don't know if
I
you're
know.
talking about real people
It's not like
anymore
a
or
rapper
not.
or anything, because it sounds like it could be a rapper's name at this point. But I mean, no, literally the Rubik's Cube itself got a cartoon. And people are like, oh, well, MC Hammer, I watched Hammerman. I know about Hammerman. I could do most
Yeah,
of
he
it.
had magical shoes.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me his
I'm
shoes
not
are real
going
people
to
now,
recite
are
the whole theme song. Ian and I can do that ad infinitum, but it's fine. And like, Mr. T had a cartoon. Of course, Mr. T had a cartoon. Of course, pro stars exist. Wayne Gretzky, Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan all had a thing as crime-fighting sports stars together. They did that. That was real. But they're all celebrities. Of course they did. They gave a plastic rotating cube its own cartoon.
Uh-huh.
There's
Pac-Man got a movie. I don't know why we're
no
doing.
reason to do that.
I mean, to sell more of them?
There's no
But
reason to do a lot of these things.
Like, Pole Position got a cartoon. The
Who's
Atari
that?
video game.
Oh, it's a video game. See, now you're just mixing up so many people who
There's-
game things out. I'm just going to second guess everything. I don't like this anymore.
There's an excellent YouTube channel called Toy Galaxy that does deep dives on the toys, like action figures, and also because it's often connected, the Saturday morning and those sort of cartoons that go with them and stuff.
Right.
And it's very, very entertaining. I highly recommend. I actually much prefer it than the Netflix, like the Toys That Made Us series.
Okay.
Because the narrator isn't there. I hate that guy.
Oh, thank you, Paul. I can't watch that series because I can't stand the narrator's voice.
Yeah, I've heard this all before.
The narrator for
Toys That
Toy,
Made Us.
Toy Galaxy is much better. Anyway, this is welcome to ChillPoint.
I'm not actually...
Oh wait, no.
No, I'm not actually done talking about this, but we should introduce the show, and then I want to
shut up.
continue.
Okay. This is ChillPoint. Up until fairly recently, it was a show about video game news. We've now pivoted into a show about 80s and 90s children's entertainment for whatever reason. But anyway, we're going to be talking... eventually, we'll probably get to be talking about the video game news that happened this week, and give you some of the background stuff on this week's episode of CheckPoint, which is up on our YouTube channel.
Is there a fun puff after this?
No.
No.
We
Great,
can
so
go
we have
along
time.
if we want to.
Okay. Since we're talking
Okay.
about cartoons, I saw a tweet, I don't know how real it is, that said that Teen Titans Go was gonna have the aliens from Space Jam, the little dudes with them in the show while they watched actual Space Jam and then reacted to it. Is that real? Chat, you have to tell me if
You know
that's
what's
real,
funny
because I
is
think that might be.
It sounds like a joke, but I have
I
every reason
think
to
it might
believe
be real.
if it's Teen Titans Go, I have every reason to believe that they're probably just going to do
It's
this.
the worst Teen Titans. I don't care what you say. Teen Titans Go is not as good as the original Teen Titans.
It's like that thing where it's like, oh, Deadpool's making a Christmas special where he pretends to be Ernest Borgnine from the Princess Bride, and read, but he narrates all of Deadpool the movie to Fred Savage, and they intersperse it with the actual Deadpool movie. And it's like, that's a hilarious concept. There's no Fred Savage is a grown man now. There's no way they literally did that. And I'm like, oh,
That's
okay,
that's the PG rated version of the Deadpool movie. Yeah.
yeah. Crap. So,
Also, yeah, Peter Falk, not Ernest
not
Borgnine.
Ernest Borgnine?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Ernest Borgnine first. Oh no, because Ernest Borgnine is the grandpa in the Merlin's House of Magical whatever horse shit. That he's the There's
That famous TV show,
Oh,
Merlin's
it was
Magical
like-
House of whatever horse shit.
It was they misted this movie. It was on MST3K, and he was the grandpa reading these 3 stories to this kid or some shit like that.
See, Dromos GHG says it's real. It's called
Yeah.
Teen Titans Go See Space Jam.
Yeah, that sounds fine. So anyway, no, the Harlem Globetrotters thing came up, and I was just like, I was just kind of blown away because I'm like, how does anyone miss out on that? And yet, I was just reading a thing on my phone on the Something Awful forums where people are like, I don't get why everyone says Monty Python's so funny. I just finally went and watched them and they're not funny. And other people are being like, oh, that explains it. You're probably in your 20s or 30s. You've already seen a lot of comedy that's been heavily influenced by them, by them, or by things that were influenced
Monty
by them
Python
already.
is
the
so
whole thing
derivative.
of
Yeah.
I see that with a lot of anime where people, if you watch older anime that was amazing for its time, it's not amazing now.
Yeah.
And it's just weird.
And they brought up things like, oh, but then they recommended that I should totally watch like the Military Fairy sketch, or like one of these ones where all these guys are like, all the men are in dresses and stuff like that. And it's like that stuff's not funny. It's like, it didn't age well is the difference, right? Like it was one of those, like, it's funny at the time because that's what we all did. We all dressed up in drag, or we all made fun of gay people. And it's like, yeah, those things don't age well. It's true.
Yeah, Monty Python certainly got a lot of thing out of guys in dresses.
Yeah.
I don't know
Did
if they
they?
really made that many like homosexuality jokes.
They didn't do that many. There were some, but it wasn't like every episode, I don't
To
think.
take your word for it, I still haven't seen a
but,
second of it.
But Men in Drag is like a very heavy British comedy tradition. It's like one of those things that it's almost like rite of passage style stuff, and they basically just leaned heavily into it. And I mean, but Kids in the Hall did the same thing, and yet it's weird because I can buy, like, when it's like that they were doing it, that Kids in the Hall was doing it like in a more subversive way for some reason. I don't know why, but
I don't know. Also,
I
not
don't-
a thing I've seen.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, they certainly have were edgier than stuff, and are coming back. Apparently, there's going to
Are
be
they?
a new Kids in the Hall series is actually starting filming now or whatever on
that will be interesting.
Netflix, or they're all together again, and doing a little miniseries thing, which I mean, interested to check it out.
Yeah. Notice that we're saying I'm so excited for this because it's like these guys are old now, and I don't know if the comedy's gonna is gonna stand up or
It's-
not.
Yeah, I mean, Kids in the Hall, to me, Kids in the Hall was always kind of
Oh, it wasn't your jam?
like, I liked some of their bits, but a lot of their bits either were like too conceptual, or went on too long, or went on too short.
Oh yeah.
Kids in the Hall had a bad habit of coming up with like a good sketch thing, getting like halfway through it, and then being like, and then completely like self-destructing
Torpedoing it? Yeah.
Yeah, torpedoing it. And you're like, but I liked that sketch. It looked like you were going funny places with it. It's like, we're too smart. You know, we're too smart for just doing what you expect. It's like, but I wanted that. Anyway.
I should mention real fast that if you are somebody who has pre-ordered...
Speaking of sketch comedy, ha!
Yeah.
Brought it around.
If you're somebody who pre-ordered the sketch comedy stylings of Loading Ready Run for Season 11, or you backed the Kickstarter for the Year of Lure, the DVD sets, which consist of 5 lovely discs, or the all in this very slim case, which I had to get custom ordered, or this lovely Blu-ray set, which is 2 Blu-rays, which we did not have to custom order.
DVD
that
case is DVD set definitely more value because you get more
discs.
discs.
Definitely not because this is in 1080. I don't think this is in 1080p. I can't remember.
I doubt it.
It might be 720. I'm not entirely certain, but we did a great job on it.
Yeah, Blu-ray disc composed largely of blood, sweat, and tears, and frustration.
And screams.
Oh, Jesus,
so many screams.
It turns out that you, like, nobody can actually author a Blu-ray anymore. Like, I have literally no idea how people make Blu-ray discs anymore. All the software that's available at any kind of a consumer level, or a prosumer level, or a not $20,000 for the piece of software level, is completely non-functional.
Yeah. And back when we were making Blu-rays, or when we started making Blu-rays, like Adobe Encore is supposed to be able to handle doing all this stuff. And we ultimately did make this in Adobe Encore. But Encore's not really terribly smart at doing it.
And also hasn't been updated since 2010, I think.
Yeah, so it's like, so of course we're still using it to make the Blu-ray, which is why you probably won't ever see any more Blu-rays out of us at this point, because it is too much of a pain in the ass to try to make everything fit spec. But also, modern Blu-rays that are made by professional companies, if they're not made in studio, they're probably made by consultants, and those people have software that starts at $10,000 a seat. That's not us.
Yeah.
We could have got HD DVD.
Yeah.
Could have got HD DVD, but we didn't.
So if you did pre-order or back for that, you should have gotten an email about it. And if you think that you've pre-ordered or that you did back, and you haven't gotten an email in any of your email accounts, you can email lurstore@pmcfulfillment.com and ask them about it, and be nice, obviously, because I sent them all the listings of stuff, so I'm the one who ultimately might have screwed up on this. But all you got to do is you email them and say, hey, here's my information, here's maybe here's a copy of the backing thing I got from Kickstarter, or here's a copy of my pre-order or whatever, and I didn't hear anything about this, and just follow up.
Okay, so it's LRR store at
PMCfulfillment, all one word, .com.
Okay.
There. I'm trying to push.
I'm trying to slow you down on the email because you talk quickly.
For the next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to be bringing this up on every stream I'm on, and if anybody else, and for like, you should be seeing these pop up every so often for other people as well. We want to let people know that they're there, and if we have leftovers, they will go on the store. But let me just get through this first part first.
We're not at that point yet.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that part yet.
All right.
So I think we're ready.
Yeah.
to talk about video game news.
Yeah, only 20 minutes in. Sure.
Because
new record.
This week, so let's talk about the stuff. Starting with the Steam Pal. Which
we've done these stories before for other companies.
I mean, we've talked, and you know, the graphic that I showed with this story of the like 4-up of other handheld devices that are trying to fill this niche. You know, none of which have been successful. And I feel like it's just not something that is a good fit, I guess, right? It's like the kind of, like, I think probably Nvidia got the farthest with their, and they were doing like remote rendering stuff, which is like where it would still be actually running on your on your computer, and you had a handheld thing that you played it on.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is still the Steam Pal. It's still in the rumor territory, but it appears to be a very solid rumor. Like, it hasn't actually been confirmed by Valve, but there's this Ars Technica article where we source most of our stuff, but then there's also it's lots of stuff has been sort of reported around. And was it somebody asked at uh, at a talk that Gabe Newell, the head of Valve, gave earlier this year. Somebody, what was the quote? Somebody asked them a rather a question, and he answered it in a fairly
Glib manner.
glib. Well, I think he's saying that somebody was like something about consoles or something, and he was like, "We'll see what happens later on in the year," or something like that.
One of those things where it's like, maybe Steam Link will show up on the Switch or something like that, right? Which of course it won't.
knows?
But
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, we've seen a lot of Switch alike things attempt and not gotten far. I mean, I've really only seen prototypes show up. I don't think I've seen a single person go and buy a thing, or where you would even buy
Like, these things definitely
one
have
of these
like
things.
prototypes have been made, and people have it. They have actually been like produced as a device, but not in sufficient quantities to like really be that successful. But here's I found the quote. So he was speaking to students in New Zealand at the Santa Maria College, and he was asked, "Will Steam be porting any games on consoles, or will it just stay on PC?" And he says, "You will get a better idea of that by the end of the year, and it won't be the answer you expect. You'll say, 'Aha! Now I get what he was talking about.'"
what a weird thing to say. Anybody could say something like that, but really, what a weird answer to that question. Like, aha, now I get what he was talking about. Yes, yeah, he was definitely being very coy at the time.
Now I definitely get what he was talking about.
So anyway, this is the main source of these Steam Pal rumor things is diving into the latest Steam update has things has some like secret stuff that people were able to figure out with like, is this game Steam Pal compatible or not?
Yeah.
And so it seems like there's something going on there. Anyway.
Okay. Well.
But yeah, whether
we don't even know what it looks like, though, is the issue.
No. What's great about what I love doing when I do graphics for CheckPoint, it's great when there's like a sort of generally agreed upon illustration. Like, if you look for Steam Pal, you can find several dozen photoshops of a Switch with a Steam logo on it.
Yeah.
Or like, it's like how many different versions of like the Apple logo and the Epic logo with like a versus thing between them.
Right.
Or like
there's a bunch of the
or like in a boxing ring, or there's like so many different versions of that logo. It's like everybody was like, we need something to show this.
Now, chat's having a bit of an interesting side conversation, I think, because in it, the conversation being like, do people buy the Switch because they're interested in the form factor of it, or do they buy it because they need a place to play the new Mario? And my take on it is that if people needed a place to play the new Mario, they would have sold a lot more Wii U's. Because they sold a lot of Wii's, right? But also they would have sold a lot more GameCubes. Like, that kind of thing, I don't if people needed the place to play those kind of things, we would have been seeing fairly consistent
Yeah.
purchase of
Column
consoles
A,
across all
column
the
B, yeah.
generations.
Well,
Yeah, and I think there is a sense of there's the people who want to play the new Marios, and I include Zelda and Metroid and all that in there. Those are the people who are that baseline of, the GameCube only sold this much and Wii U only sold this much because there are those people like me out there who are like, I'm buying the next Nintendo console because I'm waiting for the new game to come out for it so I can play it.
Mm.
The reason the Switch sells so well, I feel, is because it's like what happened with Graham, where Graham was like, I do want to play the new Zelda. I think that's awesome. I don't think he's ever finished it. Maybe he has, but
I mean,
he's like, I do
got
want to play
time
the new
constraints.
Zelda. And then he discovered also that it's like, I can get a lot of games on this. Indie developers like developing for the Switch, and that I can get a lot of cool indie games on this thing, or get some other games that like ports and whatnot from other consoles, that then I can put in my backpack and take to work, and I can sit and play for an hour while things are rendering, and I'm waiting to get my computer back so I can do more stuff. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are like, I want something to have on my commute when I'm on the bus or the train.
Yeah, no, it's partially the portable thing. Portables, the whole reason a lot of companies have like given up on portable is because smartphones.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. So there's the portable gaming is a big thing. If you're not into portable gaming, that's fine. There are people like that. But just as there are people who are like you who only want to play things upon a TV screen or a computer screen, there are people like me who actually generally like to play their games wherever they are and on the go and always have it with them, which is why I bought stuff like a Vita and a Game Boy. And I didn't even buy home consoles that often. I always went for the portable ones first.
Yeah.
Now, the Switch is a little bit different in the fact that it can be both, and we've had some systems try to do that. The Vita, the PlayStation TV were kind of trying to do that. The Wii U was sort of trying to do that, but it wasn't really there because you couldn't get far enough away.
Mm-hmm.
Second tablet gaming is kind of a thing that was kind of going for that with the iPad and the iPhone.
And Microsoft Glass
when
was
the
a
Switch
thing.
came out, every time we went to PAX, every single person I knew who did not care about Nintendo products, from what I could tell for the longest time, suddenly had to have a Switch, not because they played Nintendo first-party games. And every game booth we went to, they were like, I don't want to be that person, but is this going to be available on the Switch? Because I want to be able to take it with me. So I think the portable gaming market's a little bit more than you think it is.
Yeah, and I mean, certainly, like, I think the crossoverness, like, of course, the Vita and those was quite a powerful system, and there was weird like ports that came, like Vita games that then came out on PlayStation and stuff. But I think the Switch definitely hit that like sweet spot of being powerful enough that while not as powerful as the Xbox and PlayStation and stuff, it was powerful enough that they could get a relatively intact version of those games. Maybe a little bit lower quality in terms of the rendering or whatever, but the games could be ported over to it. And if you're, for people who like the form factor, like I heard a lot of if a game is a multi-platform release, people want it on their Switch because it's then they can be playing it, especially like people with kids or multiple people in the household. Then you can be playing it on the TV. Somebody else wants to use the TV, pull it out, and you can just start playing it. Continue playing it yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just that convenience. So like if there was an option to like get the PlayStation version or the Switch version, even though the Switch version is like objectively a lesser quality in terms of the actual game itself, the form factor really hit it home.
And I think that's just an interesting thing to think about. This Steam Pal idea is that now we have Valve saying we're going to make a console that plugs that is supposed to act like this, and it's like
Mhm.
I think the part of the story where Graham points out that like PC gamers might be upset by this because a lot of them they're playing PC games on PCs because they want to have absolute max everything.
Mm.
Can you actually port some of those games that are be the big draws to PC gaming? Do you port those to the Steam Pal and make them fully portable, not just a Steam Link style thing where you can be in like one part of your house and play in another?
It's like, obviously we know the hardware that's in a Switch.
Yes.
And because everyone is, using relatively off the shelf, even, Nintendo is using relatively off the shelf stuff in the sense that, we have pretty good idea of what its capabilities are. If you think about like, and I don't know what those are offhand, but think about, it's like how much more powerful, like if you just had a Switch, the exact hardware of a Switch,
Yeah.
like running Windows, how bad would that be?
Right.
Like how slow would that be?
Yeah.
Well, it's,
And
yeah.
if that's too slow, how much more powerful than that would this hypothetical handheld device need to be useful as a thing?
Yeah.
And what compromises in terms of battery life, heat, noise, etc., would have to be, and weight and size. What compromise would have to be? Because I mean, you can make really really small computers these days.
Yeah.
Also, price, of course.
We were talking about that the other day. Actually,
Like,
you were
you
talking
can-
about the yeah.
I mean, you talk about like even the the iPads and stuff, right? Which have chips in them that are as powerful as mini computers, or the iMacs, which have the entire computer in like the little bottom part. Like,
Yeah.
if you look at the motherboard of a lot of laptops, it's not that much bigger than a Switch, but those laptops cost $2,000 or $1,500, and it's like a different market. So it's like how good does a computer need to be as a gaming thing to be useful in that form, as opposed to something like a Switch where the games are being specifically made for the device, so
Yeah.
they're they're matched.
I have a question. So we have two form factors for the Switch. Technically, we've got the
Modular
the-
one, and we've got the
and we have the
unified
Lite,
one.
right? And the Lite hasn't sold as well as the original, and I mean, there's differing factors for that, but a lot of people either only want a TV version anyway, so they were never going to buy the Lite, or they want both, right? Anytime I ever see people bring up the so and so's making a Switch, they're making this form factor thing, I almost never see them talk about whether or not it can attach to a TV,
Yeah.
or if it has a dock.
It's
type
not one of the
thing,
first things that
or-
get mentioned. Yeah.
or if it
Yeah,
is going to be a back and forth thing, because while the portability of the Switch is a selling point, the big thing they really pushed when they first announced the Switch was, hey, you're playing your game on your TV, now grab it and go, now you're on the bus, now you're in your friend's patio party thing that we clearly all have.
Now you're at a hotel where they have a dock at the TV that you can just put it in the hotel
Yeah,
dock and
right.
playing
And
again.
and
Yeah.
that was like a really big selling point, was not just that it's a thing you can take on the go, but you can bring it everywhere, you can share it with everyone, you can do all these things, you have all these even though they call it tabletop mode, and it's just essentially we put a little stick out on the thing and now everyone's going to hover like around a tiny screen. They promote that, and I never see that in any of these things where it's like, oh, so and so's making a Switch alike now. It's like it's more like, we decided to make a handheld too.
Yeah.
That is an interesting point, though, because it's like people don't, that conversion aspect, because it's like what I guess you would want to convert it to, it almost becomes, there's like the old school like laptop docks, right?
Yeah.
Like that's sort of almost what you would want. it's
Yeah, and I
this
mean,
thing is
they
almost
might,
yeah. I guess it's almost like a more like a tablet dock that then has like a big monitor or something. I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
weird thing.
and
Yeah.
and they might all have like a USB-C thing that allows you to like put it onto a TV. I don't think you would absolutely need that with something like Steam Pal, because they already have Steam on the PC.
Yeah.
So for them, it might just be another portable device. But I kind of feel like we've gotten to a point that since Nintendo's really the only one making a handheld like device or a portable type device, um, since Vita's kind of out of the game and stuff, that everything that does portable is a Switch now.
It's yeah, and uh Arclight Dynamo is saying, yeah, sort of a misunderstanding of what the Switch like. The Switch form factor is not the form factor you think it is, right? Like if you just look at, say, a Switch Lite and think that as the Switch form factor and
Yeah.
emulate that, you're actually missing quite a large chunk of
Yeah,
the
like
value proposition of a
detachable
Switch.
Joy-Cons for me are what make the Switch a Switch. I know they made the Switch Lite, and it's great that they have something like that, but
Yeah.
But if the Switch Lite had come first, I don't think the Switch would have been successful in nearly the way it is.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, but people have made like controls that fit on the sides of phones and that kind of stuff. There's all sorts of different things there. Because that's the thing. Like, portable gaming, and obviously phones are super powerful and stuff. But I just have never found a game that's like, well, occasionally, but there's very few games that I find like enjoyable to play on the phone above the level of like, sort of puzzly type, like sort of connect the whatevers.
Yeah. Yeah, I've found a couple of games I really like playing, but I try to play them all on a tablet or an iPad, partially for a bigger screen, but also I like to try and keep games off of my phone because they become a distraction. I like having a dedicated gaming device as opposed to I'm supposed to do work on this thing and keep track of this other thing, and now there's a game staring me in the face that I could click on very easily.
I mean, that's fair, but on the other hand, it's not like I'm not wasting time, reading Reddit or random web
Sure.
pages on my site on my
But
on
I
my
can
phone
pretend
anyway.
that that's where.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's an interesting idea. I feel like it is one of those things that people see the Switch and are like, we could make that, and then don't quite understand the process. Monster Hunter Rise. This was so obviously updates to games like this happen all the time, and what caught my eye on this story, and Beej as well, I guess, was that they added it's like now has an ending that
Yeah.
like it took to version 3.0 before they were like, okay, fine, we'll end it now, which is
Yeah.
just like that's I guess that's how games are these days.
Like because games
How does it end?
have
We'll figure it out. How
We
long
used
has
to
this
have-
game out? Like 6 months?
we used to have the chapter thing, right? Where it was like Telltale did that for
Oh yeah,
the
this
whole-
chapter
Oh, the
gaming.
yeah.
It still kind of happens, but it was a more popular thing during the specific time. Yeah.
yeah. And chaptered gaming was one of those things where
I mean, basically nobody
you knew
actually
you
made
weren't
that
gonna end
work.
no, it could never actually
Telltale
work. And
sort of did, but not really.
and the idea of then Rise essentially had done that. They had said what you're gonna do is you're going to buy this game and it's only gonna be like chapters 1 and 2, and you're gonna have to wait for chapter 3 when we're ready to release it, then we're gonna give you the ending. And that's a little weird because it means that if you just bought the game and didn't intend to getting updates is great, but if you're in a place where you can't get updates, then that's like, oh, that's weird that you released a game that doesn't complete its own story. But that's fine because I don't know, maybe Monster Hunter doesn't have to have endings right away, and it's fine if you don't have an ending right away.
Sometimes this sounds like the kind of update where it's like we needed it out at a certain time and stuff's not done, but we'll finish it later. Is always a possibility with gaming these days. That's why we get a lot of day one patches and such. But I also kind of like I don't play Monster Hunter Rise. or any Monster Hunter, because I've tried and I just does not gel.
Okay.
But is this not maybe also a way to ensure people will get the update?
Yeah.
Like if there's other stuff in there
true.
that you end up changing that maybe is less agreeable to people, but you really want them to get that update, having the ending show up, is that not potentially a plan?
And it's like from what, again, none of us have played Monster Hunter, but my understanding is that this isn't like another chapter. This is just like a additional enemy or additional boss and an ending. Like I don't think it's like a ton of new stuff. It's just sort of ends as a little bit more satisfying. I was just thinking about like imagine like you fight the final boss and then like the whole building collapses on them and then you watch the final credits and then it's like the end and then the arm comes out of the rubble question mark, and then like 6 months later the update, it's like question mark ... yes, he's actually dead. Like it was a cliffhanger and they're like, people found that unsatisfying, let's finish. Let's
There'd be so much backlash for that.
And so the other thing with all the extra stuff that's been added in, this got, so the thing that surprised me more was that apparently, according to somebody on a YouTube comment, Valstrax already had jets in its wings. And I'm like, now, in my defense, CheckPoint doesn't do original research. By and large, you almost will never get us doing additional research, right? When it does happen,
coming from Polygon.
Yeah, we will point out when we do original research because we're as shocked as you are that we had to go find out information on our own. So the Polygon story that I pulled this from was like, oh, and now Crimson Glow Valstrax has jets underneath it, and you can tell that this is a new thing because it has jets underneath it. And I'm kind of like, neat. I'm gonna focus on that weird thing for a sentence because I need to talk about something. I'm gonna talk about jets because that's kind of interesting that a monster now has jets. So. And I assumed they were like turbine jets that you'd find on under the wing of an airplane. So when I finally looked at the picture, I'm like, ah, shit, it's just jets of fire shooting out of the back of its wings. Well, not changing this. I got stuff to do tonight, like sleep. So that you get what you get and don't be upset.
I've always hated that line.
Sometimes it's true, though. And it was also just a good excuse for me to talk about Lady Dimitrescu and... where in a place where for once I remembered that Capcom's the one who makes Resident Evil, because so far it's been like, wait, is this Konami? Is this Square Enix? Is this Spike Chunsoft? Who the fuck makes Resident Evil? I forget. Like, always forget. And so now it's like, no, it's Capcom. I really remember this time.
You know what? To be fair, I only really think of Capcom when I think of people being angry about Mega Man or
Street Fighter,
or Ace Attorney Investigations 2, which you still need to bring out, and I'm not forgiving you just because you're giving me the great Ace Attorney games. Yeah. And whatever other... Street Fighter, I think, is really... Yeah.
I hope everybody watching this went on the same journey I did when I was reading this. The last line there, I'm like, if you find yourself thirsty for more gameplay where you invade towering monsters bent on destroying your body, I was like, oh, I know where B's just going with this line. I know. In our script, we can mark things and put notes and stuff, and so the last line there is marked, and like I don't even have to check what the note is to know what he wants a picture of here.
I did give you a lot of options. They were all the same thing, but I did give you a lot of options.
Yes. Well done. Hot tubbin'.
Yeah, our political thing. I mean, all gaming is political, let's be fair.
Yeah.
So this isn't really video game news.
It's an issue story.
And it's video game adjacent, of course, because it's Twitch is very much a video game platform, despite what we are currently doing, which is just chatting.
We're talking about video games. We're video
Exactly,
game Jason
exactly.
Paul.
Yeah. But we don't have any hot tubs in this.
I don't know. We all
up in
have
this-
foot baths on right now. They're like mini feet hot tubs.
If you
That's
listen,
how
you
know.
can hear them very closely. They go. Anyway.
Our takes are so hot that we don't need tubs. We start just like chest deep in cold water, and by the end of the show, it's a hot tub. So yeah, this idea. So obviously, this is about this idea of the dress code for Twitch. They were having problems with. And this is, you get into this stuff, and we've talked about this before with Twitch terms of service, where they, it's such a big platform and it's used for so many different things that they have to really start defining things in ways that are, at their surface seem like really stupid, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, they're like anti adult material and pornography or whatever policy is really long because there's a lot of nuances that you have to go through, and I
People get off in a
appreciate
variety of ways.
and I appreciate that they're not doing, we'll know it when we see it,
Yeah.
Yeah. Rules lawyer's nightmare.
because but it does leave up, this sort of wiggle room for people go, hey, wait a minute. If I'm in a pool on the stream, I can wear, a bikini or whatever,
Yeah.
or a bathing suit. And so then obviously as we got into summer, I guess I don't know whether that had any reference, like whether it was just somebody came up with the idea and it just happened to be going into summer, or whether the fact that we're going into summer made a difference. But anyway.
I have a tangent.
You always do.
Because if it's like, well, okay, if I'm at home, then if I have to wear a shirt on stream while I am streaming, can I just wear a thin white t-shirt while I'm in the hot tub?
I know.
I'm wearing a shirt. And maybe
goodness.
like that's.
I'm pretty sure if
no one's done that yet.
I'm pretty sure if that was a thing that worked, people would be doing it already.
Strap in. That's going to be in the next thing you're going to see in the pools, hot tubs, and streams. A whole bunch of people getting banned.
Not, but
Yeah, it's and there is this is the arguments for this are you kind of get this weird stuff around the discussion about this where you have people who are sort of on different sides of the argument, wanting the same thing, but angry at each other because they want it for different reasons.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't like hot tub streamers or these because it's, sort of lowering the tone of the whole service, messing with advertisers, and also it has also apparently been problem with female streamers who are not interested in doing this will get harassment being like, why don't you do this like these people are doing, and this kind of stuff, which is
some
very
of that going on,
which are legitimate concerns that should be addressed. And there's also people who are, how dare this person be sexy, they're tempting me in ways that they shouldn't be allowed to. And it's like people are like, yes, we don't want hot tub streamers here, and we agree with you, but you don't want them here for the wrong reason. So we're not in agreement, but we actually want the same thing to happen. But you want it for the wrong reason, and I want it for the right reason, and it's sort of an odd situation.
There's a line, right, where if there are a bunch of people who are like, we don't want hot tub streamers on Twitch because Twitch should only be about video games. That's a very benign reason that doesn't get into any of the weird sexy things.
Yeah.
And And then if you agreed with that because you were like, well, that'll help us get the hot tub streamers off, even though I'd prefer this other reason. You're also then saying just chatting, IRL, creative, music production, and a whole bunch of other stuff that does happen on Twitch, even though it's not maybe the biggest thing that happens on Twitch, shouldn't be there either.
Yeah.
And do you really want to be agreeing with that?
I mean, because then the question is like, what is the answer? Take that shit to Justin.tv? Like, do they just start that brand up again? And it's like, everybody, we move all those things over to there. It's like, that could be a thing you do, but is that...
It's not...
I mean,
that's nice for Twitch.
And I think that's like fundamentally the problem. Like, it is like, since they shut down Justin TV, which was the place for all that, and integrated because and it probably seemed like a good idea at the outset, because it's like there's these two websites that are basically operating the same infrastructure, but they're not coordinating together.
Yeah.
Couldn't that just be one thing? But fundamentally, there is a disconnect between the kinds of things both that the audience wants to see and that a performer wants to do in the sort of IRL realm and in the playing video games realm.
Yeah.
And they don't really come together very well. And Twitch has never felt comfortable. Like, I feel like they've never really been comfortable with the sort of IRL stuff. Like, they haven't been able to kind of figure out where to put it or how to organize it properly, other than just kind of being like, this is it here.
I mean, and also because it could be a large part of that could be that it's like, this is a grafted on culture to, if you're thinking of people who are running Twitch, because I don't know if the people who ran Twitch, the people who ran Justin TV, as were they the same? Did you have the same executive structure? Yeah, but it's like, so you'd have the same executive structure at the top. You just had two brands, and then they folded the brands together to say, okay, it's all one brand because we want to make Twitch look like a unified entity. We don't want to have two different brands floating out there because we're trying to grow the company. And then I wonder, I'm like, so is the evolution of the culture of people playing video games and the evolution of the culture who use the platform for IRL, just chatting, whatever else, for a non-video game related thing, are those two things, are they actually incompatible, or are there elements of them that are the same, that overlap enough that it's like, sure, so you have two groups being mad at each other, or really is it a tiny group of people getting their assholes in a twist because they think that they need to gatekeep one thing over another? And I'm not even saying that it's the gaming people gatekeeping the IRL people, because I bet you there are people in the IRL category that are having the same problem with how people act in the gaming category. And I bet you.
And you know, obviously stuff like what we do here on Loading Ready Run. We do stuff like this, which is not gaming, although it's gaming related, but we also do things that you know, like Loading Ready Live.
Not gaming at all, right?
That is not gaming at all. And Tinker Tailor Solder Fry, it's not gaming at all. And having to have that split between like Justin TV and Twitch would be super annoying for us. So
yeah.
But then again, we're not really. We are more kind of have Twitch use Twitch as a platform to show our stuff as opposed to a promotional tool.
It is though, like, so like you're talking about the division between Twitch and Justin TV, and that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
But I don't think if people could get away with it, they would probably still be using Twitch over Justin TV, because people know what Twitch is. Like the thing where, oh, we've now made this other category. And yeah, there are going to be people who use the category, but when IRL was a thing, when it was just starting, people were putting stuff in there, and when they added creative, people were still putting stuff in IRL because you have better discoverability sometimes.
Yeah.
when you're in that category because more people are interested in browsing that category, and you can kind of get away with that. I mean, you can't be like, oh, I'm gonna craft a thing but also put myself under a specific video game if you're not playing the video game. That's
Right.
clearly a breach. But there was this way to do that, and I kind of feel like some streamers are going to see this as a, oh, you're putting me off in a corner, even though that can be a good thing.
Yeah.
But the thing of the story that really gets me that is that they pointed out that they needed to be more transparent about advertising, and that they were putting this over there because not all advertisers get to decide what kind of content they want to be advertised against. And there was claims from a hot tub streamer that her advertising had gotten taken off, and I don't care what you think of her, that's not the point, that her advertising got taken off and nobody told her anything, and that was it.
And
Yeah, so you're done.
Like, I think it was more than claims. Like, in that article, it seemed to indicate that actually did like happen. That basically the whatever, they couldn't serve any ads to her because of the advertisers didn't want it or whatever, and they didn't notify her, and she just found out at the end of the month, or found out that all her ad stats had completely dropped off.
And to a large extent, I mean, that's because the dream and the promise has always been, are you sick of slinging drinks at a bar? Are you sick of bussing tables? Are you sick of having to do like all these kind of things? Well, get yourself a webcam, sit in front of your computer for 3 hours a day, and talk to people, and then start doing things to entertain them and attract them to watch you do your thing. And if you're an interesting enough person, and that's always naturally, right? But it's never really naturally. If you're an interesting enough person, then people will start coming in to watch you. They'll subscribe to your channel, and then you'll start playing lots of ads to lots of people, and you'll start collecting lots of money there too. But the problem is like, if the advertisers don't like the thing that you're doing, if a bunch of advertisers showed up on our door and said, and was like, they split themselves into two groups and said, these advertisers like what you're doing, and these advertisers don't like what you're doing, so we're all leaving and taking our money with us. And it's like, wait, hang on. I think I need to change what I'm doing to keep all of you happy. But then at that point, it's like, but then what if by changing what I'm doing, it drives away all my viewers? And my viewers are also supporting me with money. So at some point, you end up making choices where it's like, who do I care if they
Yeah, I mean, that's generally
right?
Generally why those things exist. And like, my feeling on the thing is, though, once an advertiser is like, hardcore, not this streamer, they're probably not coming back to you.
Yeah.
It's not going to become a thing of, oh, I found out all the advertisers left, I'll change my stuff and they'll come back. I don't think that happens.
Yeah. It's like losing advertisers is supposed to be, in the perfect world, supposed to be, oh, that's very informative for me to know what it is I have to change about my stream, or what I have to change about my product, or what I have to change about whatever. And sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it is completely not informative at all, as to, it's because it's just like an advertiser decided that they don't want to have their ads for their F-150 trucks show up where on a stream where there's a girl in a bikini in a hot tub. They just decide they don't want to do that. And yet that woman in a hot tub is like, I can still make some money from this. I just now am making less money because I don't have the F-150 ads showing up. And it's like, it's but so...
The problem is still the transparency in not letting people know that, by the way, no one wants to advertise with you if you do this thing. And sure, if you can put a different category up and everyone's like, oh, if we go over into that category now, every advertiser on the planet is going to not want to do anything with us, but Twitch is fine if we stream that anyway, because they don't really care.
And largely
that's still like, I don't know, I'd want a memo, like, what?
And when you're talking about advertisers, they're the ones with the power here, right? And then next is the viewers, and then after that is the streamer.
And of course, the concern is that if enough people are doing a certain type of stream, that the service becomes known for that.
Yeah.
then there's a knock-on effect with it's not just affecting the person who's actually doing it. It's the ad rates get lower for everybody and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is partially why the Patreon and subscriptions are so that makes it so that but that is like it makes it so that the the goals are aligned between the viewers and the streamer, right? Whereas the advertiser has like a completely different set of goals, right? That are actually kind of antithetical to like the advertiser basically, you know, wants to get you to do something that you don't want to do
Yeah.
and pay you for that doing it.
Yeah.
But so yay for direct support, but also yeah, I mean Twitch, there's only so many times that Twitch can be, we're sorry we're not more transparent about this. We'll try better. Like, at a certain point, it's like you guys have done this like transparency stuff has happened a lot of times, and you
Yeah.
said you're
And I
going to be
mean,
better a lot of times.
they
and
finally just
it
added
doesn't seem to be getting much better.
tags like LGBT and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And I would look through the whole list and I'm like, that's great. You finally did the thing that people have been asking for over a year. That's cool. I hope that you're ready for the influx of harassment that might happen. And I kind of, by doing that, I think they're good to have, but at the same time, I hope you're ready, you're prepared for that.
Yeah. Like that's
because I've seen so many threads about here's how to combat the harassment you're absolutely going to get once you start adding in extra tags.
We talked about that actually just prior to filming CheckPoint yesterday. That was like the new tagging thing is amazing, but it did not come with it didn't come with enhanced moderation tools, which is what everyone's really been asking for. It's like, yes, we want tags, but we also want ways to help moderate for those tags. And I mean, we're in a great position because for multiple reasons, and one of them being that we have such a great mod team that it's like that's better for us. It's easy for us. We're big enough and attractive enough and party enough that that the mods show up here and do a great job for us. Not every channel has a great mod team.
And as Arclight Dynamo in the chat says, what happened if now with the tags, right? What happens if somebody says, I don't want my ads on LGBTQ content,
Yeah.
So it's like, and you notice that like you could easily do a test, right? Like stream for a week without using the tag, stream for a week with using the tag, and you notice your ad rates go way down when you're using the tag and when you're not using the tag. I don't know if that's a thing. Maybe people will try that. It would be interesting to see if that actually becomes a thing.
It's just about June, which means it's National Pride Month in the United States, and I think it's Pride Month in a lot of other countries as well. Which means that maybe all the advertisers will be looking for LGBTQ streams to advertise on for a month, and then all of a sudden evaporate in July, and you'll just watch that advertising revenue crater for LGBTQ people.
Yes,
Rainbow time's over now.
Yeah. LRR.cc/pride. Not that we're making a pride shirt for Pride Month. We just make a pride shirt for all year round.
We have a pride shirt. If you wanted it at any other time, you could get it, but you could also get it in June. If you want to wait until June for some reason.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a tricky thing, and it's a weird. I think I've talked about this before, but it's a weird aspect where I find my relation, or what I feel like my relationship in the sort of Loading Ready Runs relationship with services like Twitch and YouTube differs from how a lot of people use it. In that, because we've been around for so long and we have our wonderful community that is kind of grown up around our content as opposed to the platform, it makes it so that, and especially in the case of YouTube, we've moved different platforms on several occasions. And I always have seen YouTube and Twitch as doing a service for me.
Yeah.
Operating a streaming setup is incredibly expensive and complicated, and requires engineering knowledge that I don't have. And I'm very happy to pay Twitch a cut of ad revenue to handle that for me.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how I see the relationship. Not that I'm working for Twitch, that Twitch is providing a service to me. And so that makes it slightly different to sort of think about these different, like, same with YouTube, right? Where it's like, and so people, this idea that there's been talk about like, oh, YouTube creators should unionize, or Twitch people should unionize and stuff. And to me, that seems, it's like a slightly different sort of mentality, where it's like, do you feel like you're a contractor for Twitch producing content for their platform, or is Twitch a company providing the infrastructure for you to produce your content?
Yeah,
that's
like, is your business creating content, or is your business like
fundamentally? I don't think it's actually, like, it doesn't actually change anything. It's just sort of a different mode of thinking about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, by technicality, you're not an employee of Twitch.
Yeah.
Right, of course you aren't.
By being an affiliate or a partner. In fact, affiliate and partners don't even... maybe not the word affiliate, but partner definitely doesn't mean the same thing with Twitch that maybe someone would say, oh, I'm a partner with such and such company.
With a law firm.
Would actually mean, right?
Yeah.
So there's... At best, you'd be a contractor.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're not technically an employee, but that's like a lot of weird nouns and legal things that I don't know anything about, so we could probably move on.
Yeah. Somebody who's not even an affiliate is basically agreeing to use the service. And when you become an affiliate and you start getting advertising cuts, I'm sure that comes with a contract, a click-on contract that you agree to, where it's like, you want to become an affiliate, you click this thing, here's some information about what you're going to collect, here's how this is, here's how we manage this relationship.
You sign a contract as an affiliate as you do as a partner.
Yeah.
It's very similar in a lot of ways and different in others.
Yeah.
As far as I understand it, I've never seen a partner contract, but I have seen the affiliate one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's talk about Zelda Backstroke of the West.
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
So there's
a lot of people loved as an in-joke that also I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand the joke. Can you please explain it to me and Paul?
Okay, so so Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, for whatever reason, it had a Chinese bootleg translation, where the title got changed through whatever machine learning thing to Star Wars Episode 3, Backstroke to the West.
Wow.
Because of the Revenge of the Sith and somehow the vagaries of how this gets translated.
This is a deep cut.
And it isn't just that, okay, that's a really funny title, because it's spread around because they did their own English subtitling of it. In a movie that's already in English, they did their own English subtitling, because you do a dub of it and then you end up putting English subtitling in it for when it goes to Hong Kong or whatever. And so a lot of the kind of inartful English translations that you see that come out of a lot of hastily subbed movies from China, that this is the kind of thing that you get. It's where "do not want" came from, where at the very end of the movie, and spoilers, instead of going no, or rather he goes no, but at the bottom it says "do not want." Because they're trying to explain it in the Chinese context, like, why is he saying no? What's he saying no to? It's like, well, he doesn't want this thing to have happened. Okay, so we have to use that version of no, he has to yell. And how are we going to translate that? Well, he's literally saying that he does not want it, so do not want. Okay, that's perfect.
All right. It's especially funny because, of course, Journey to the West
Yeah.
is, the central like epic
Yeah, it's Sayuki. Yeah.
the like the like central epic mythological story in China. And so you have and there are as with a lot of these kind of things, there's definitely parallels in Star Wars. Uh and so the idea that somehow that got like mixed in with it, with the like
Yeah.
backstroke to the West.
It's just really, yeah, I love that. And so I was like, well, Breath of the Wild, every time I've seen it, I've always been like, I know that should stand for something else. I can't remember what it is. And I'm like, oh, wait, it stands for whatever the hell that Star Wars thing was, but what is it? And and that was like a couple of days I couldn't remember, just because it popped up in my head like on Monday or Tuesday. I'm like, what's the name of that Star Wars thing? Something to the West. What was it again? And then when I sat down to write this, I all of a sudden was like, right, BOTW, backstroke. It was backstroke to the West. Oh, I have to call it backstroke of the West. Well, that's fine. Okay, we explained the joke.
Okay.
Let's talk about getting
No,
treasure
I
chests.
think it's important.
Yeah,
I
so
feel
too.
like you and all of the people in the YouTube comments who commented on that joke should like go have like a private like Discord somewhere to hang out.
See, they say you shouldn't make like too niche a joke because you don't want to lose your audience. And at the same time, I say if you put in at least one deep cut thing, you will find your people.
Oh yeah.
Conservation of humor. We I think we've talked about this before, but if a joke, the more specific a joke is, there's a certain amount of funniness in a joke, and if everyone laughs at it, sure, it's funny. But
Yeah.
if nobody laughs at it except like 3 people, it will destroy those 3 people.
Yeah. That was literally how Dennis Miller built his career back in the 80s, is making incredibly niche jokes that people who knew a lot about culture and pop culture would understand. And it's like that was like the largest thing about making jokes in the 80s, is that you would make jokes that were like really specific to that, which made it hard listening to them in the 90s and not understanding and then having to figure it out and then being like, okay, now I understand why that was so funny.
You like your comedy to be a puzzle, huh?
I mean, the amount of times of referencing Adrian Zemed, and I was kind of like, that's a very specific thing that, like, if you don't know who Adrian Zemed is, you're
like
not going to get it.
Wikipedia open on another tab.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so what's the actual story?
Treasure chests are unfindable.
Impossible,
Yeah.
you'd say.
Impossible to get. Well, or I shouldn't say they're not unfindable. They're findable. They're just impossible to get to unless you want to glitch through the game.
Like, to me, this is just a dick move.
Yeah.
Like, you've got treasure. It's like, sure, games have treasure chests or leftover stuff that didn't get deleted. That happens in a lot of games. Demo stuff or things that don't end up in the actual game, but they're just extra pieces. Whatever. But the fact that you have a treasure chest sensor that goes off when you're near one of these things.
Yeah.
It's just a dick move.
Yeah,
right?
that's how people are finding them.
That's the like.
I hadn't even thought about that. I didn't really use the sensor for treasure chest looking.
That's the thing. That's the like like when on the Minecraft stream when they put like a bunch of chickens underground somewhere.
Oh yeah.
That
and you can hear them.
where James didn't know where they were, but he could still hear them. It's like that. Like it's just like something that you can't deal with, and there's a lot of hard to get but not impossible to get chests in the game. So you would be like, okay, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
Oh shoot!
And the Sheikah Slate.
Yeah, no, I'm on Paul's side with this now.
Yeah, the Sheikah Slate searches. I'm gonna make an assumption. It searches in a sphere around you.
I believe so.
Because you could be standing on top of a cave that has a shrine in it, and it will go off. But if you walk away, I believe will not detect it. So it's like, okay, I know that then directly underneath me or directly above me there must be a shrine.
It's like a cone, I think.
Is it? Because I assumed it was just a large sphere that kind of encompasses you.
A tube.
Is it a cylinder?
I think it's a tube because I feel like you could be up really high in the air and it would still detect a shrine like really far below you.
Okay. I just assumed it would be a sphere because it's like equidistant in all directions from where you're standing. I can trigger, but I do know that some of these chests, some of these chests only spawn. Like it's like chests don't sit in a certain area, and it's like, okay, I know that this chest is in this location. There might not be a chest in that area, but when you get close to where it's supposed to be, the chest pops into view. It becomes available, and that's other ways that they're using to detect it. To be like, the chest isn't in a fixed location. It can literally be somewhere else, and then the fact that you're showing up means that it's time for me to spawn and actually come into view. And that has happened with one of these underground chests where you have to clip through the ground, get into the really open area that has like a bunch of underground waterfalls and stuff, and then you see a chest come down a waterfall but only it comes down when you get close, meaning that the chest has to not appear, but then it has to appear when you get close enough, and then it starts to come down the waterfall, and you have to grab it with magnesis to pull it in.
Because if you don't get it fast enough, then you have to leave and come back.
Yeah, because it sinks all the way to the bottom, whatever, and you can't grab it. You have to leave, so it despawns, and you have to come back so you can grab it again. There's lots of crazy ways to get this.
Underground.
I know, it's weird, right?
That sounds like a cool place to go.
It's like they designed all the land, but the land doesn't go right down to the basement. They're just like, the land only goes down as far as it needs to. And then the water's just like, well, the water is based on physics, so the water just rolls off, and then it's into a pool. But it's like, no, but the pool actually goes all the way down.
Sorry, I just like that you called the below the world
the basement.
Part the basement. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's the sub-ocean, right? So
don't go into the basement. What's wrong? There's nothing there. The world ends right at the basement door.
If you get too close to the basement and you glitch into it, we can't promise we can get you out.
The most interesting one to me that kind of helped, like, taught me how this is supposed to work, I guess, is the warm doublet chest. Because at the beginning of the game, if you talk to the old man, he gives you a warm doublet.
Yes.
If you choose
if you do a thing for him.
Right. If you choose not to do that thing, or not to go collect it from him or whatever, when you go to his house, there's a treasure chest waiting there for you that has the warm doublet in it. Because they're like, we have to get this to you somehow. Well, if we put it in a treasure chest, that'll be something that you'll open because you'll want to know what's in it. That kind of thing. But the treasure chest isn't there if you've already picked it up, which means that, as they've said, it's like that treasure chest has to be somewhere else, and it's not like it's somewhere else off the edge of the map and then just goes and just sucks in. It's probably below the floor inside the Great Plateau's ground, and when you get close enough to the cabin, it will rise up, because as you get close enough to the cabin, it's like all of a sudden that treasure chest is showing up in your Sheikah slate.
See,
it can't just be spawned there?
I don't think that any of these things actually spawn. I think they're actually moved, and they're always present. Because if you go, and here's why. If you go to the house, it'll set off the Sheikah slate sensor for the treasure chest. But there's no treasure chest. So it's like...
Right, so it's probably there,
so
but you can't...
it has to be there, but you can't see it, which means it's not on top of the house. It's got to be below the house.
Okay, so yours makes sense, but that's not fun for me. So what I like to think is
tiny.
This old man who's going to give you the warm doublet always has it on him, and then when you do the thing that you're supposed to do, he's like, I got to get this to him somehow. Treasure chest with several thousands of feet from Discworld. Please take this to my home now. And then they go all the way over there.
And so, like, if you happen to walk, like, if you happen to be in the right area at the right time, you'll just see that chest, like, walking by in the background.
Yeah, because it's not going to stop until it gets to the house. It's not going to you. It's going to the place where he thinks you'll go. And then it's there. And that's now my new headcanon, and this works out much better for me.
I would dearly love to have an RPG game that had an ambulatory treasure chest that follows you around. Yeah.
In Death Stranding, of course, you're delivering stuff back and forth to things. And about halfway through the game, you get drone delivery things, which is literally like a platform with like legs that goes like doop doop doop. And so you can assign things to your drone deliveries as well as your regular ones, which is great because they have like a percentage, like how damaged it will probably get depending on like how far it has to go and what the terrain is between there, and like whether you've built roads between the two places and stuff. The drones are not great. They tend to, like, you'll get there to be like, okay, I'm sorry, your delivery of underpants is like 90% broken. I'm sorry.
Your underpants are broken. It's like snapped in half. This is wild. I didn't know Chester from Don't Starve. I didn't know there was an ambulatory treasure chest in Don't Starve. That's awesome.
I saw that once. It's been a while since I played that game.
Yeah.
So these little guys who be like, go off and get this thing, and there'll be like this giant box that'll like be sitting on the platform on the top of these legs, and the legs will walk off. Often they'll like hum to themselves as they walk off, like
Oh, cool.
which is awesome. Except the part I was so disappointed in is you can't like go along the road and like see it walking along. Like once it's left, you just get a notification that it like arrived at some point.
Oh, okay.
But it's
That's
like
nice
that would have been
tells
so
you.
great. Like the path it's going to be taking from one place to another. You should be able to just like walk up and be like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Pass it on the way, yeah.
Yeah, I was so disappointed. Anyway, I think that's all we have to talk about for Zelda. Now there's a bunch of info about Sonic. So
Sure was.
Wow, yeah.
So Thursday morning, I had heard about this event because it was like on the various websites, and it's like there's going to be a Sonic 30th anniversary event Thursday morning, and I was like, great. I was like, kind of annoying that it's Thursday morning rather than Wednesday, but maybe we can get some stories out of this. It seems like it'll be kind of a big deal. Turns out it like wasn't actually that big a deal. It was like a 15-minute video that they posted. So it wasn't like that big a deal. But there were a few things that they announced that were kind of funny. For what?
Yeah.
Like you can get the Sonic costume. Like, so this was a separate story that Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, the official video game.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of Olympic video games.
Yeah, like Sonic and Mario.
Yeah. That game had one of the things in it is it's got like a ton of costumes that you can wear. So you can be like, I'm an astronaut, or I'm whatever, like as well as the actual like athlete uniforms.
It's Tokyo. It's cosplay. Yeah, okay. Okay.
And so they're going to have Sonic. But yeah, like we said, the thing, it's not you get to be Sonic. It's you get to be a guy dressed up as Sonic. Kind of like, those people who do like fun runs in goofy outfits.
Yeah.
Because you're not playing an athlete wearing the Sonic costume. It's a rando wearing the Sonic
Well, it's
outfit.
somebody
I
who
don't
can
think you
compete
get
in the Olympics, so...
I don't think
Well,
you get
like,
to
I
choose like your specific athlete though. You don't
Yeah,
get to
can I
be
pick
like,
Usain
do I
Bolt
not-
and put him in the Sonic costume? Like,
yeah.
What is the Olympics game not like baseball or basketball games where you get specific players?
As far as I know, it isn't. Maybe. I mean, I haven't
Oh, that'd
played
be
one in
interesting.
years, so
I
I
mean,
don't know if
it's-
you get to
it-
be specific people.
It's technically... The Olympic Games are all amateurs, so if you were going to be licensing your... You'd have to belong to some sort of like Olympics Player Association, perhaps, if you want to have your visage grace the game, perhaps.
That amateur thing is very weird.
It is, because it's not always true, is it?
Anyway, so there's you can be Sonic. So there's this. I mean, we played a little bit of the video at the end there. This great video of some random guy in a Sonic outfit competing with other things, and of course in the video, and it's Sonic, so they have to have him like win the race.
Yeah.
Stuff, which okay, I get, but and then other stuff that was coming out. I mean, there's also there was an outfit for 2 Point Hospital. Is it 2 Point Hospital?
Yeah, I think it's called 2 Point Hospital.
Which is an interesting game. I played a little bit of it. It's kind of a fun game, but I don't know. I didn't really get into it that much. But again, it's not Sonic in 2 Point Hospital. It's like a doctor dressed up as Sonic. Like it's a guy with like a Sonic head and like a blue lab coat and like blue pants and a blue shirt. But it's not Sonic.
I mean, I would say that'd be a little weird for a hospital, but for 2 Point Hospital, maybe not so weird.
Yeah, I think a bunch of the other Sonic characters are in it too. It's Dr. S. Onic. I wrote some notes about the stuff that was
Yeah, so
The
there's
other
like
things.
there's like a collection Sonic 1, 2, 3,
Right.
Knuckles, and Sega CD Sonic or something was also
The Legacy
which-
Collection, this is?
Which
And
apparently Sega even acknowledging that Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or Sonic 3 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles, like, exists is kind of a big deal. Apparently, like, because there's quite a few different Sonic, old Sonic game collections.
Yeah, they like to do
Yeah.
2 a lot.
But for some reason, they usually don't do Sonic 3.
I don't know why they don't want to talk about Sonic and Knuckles. That game was awesome.
Yeah.
It had a flip top, and I could put my old games in it. It transformed. It was so cool when that came out.
Man, you know, last week we were talking about Amiibo stuff. That was like the original physical DLC. You could buy the thing and then put it in, and you got Knuckles.
You got Knuckles in your Sonic 3 or your Sonic 2.
Foxmar is saying that it was because of the soundtrack that is the reason why they've never talked about 3 or Knuckles.
Oh, that would make
interesting.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
there's
And then SAGR says people always claim it's because of music stuff, but I mean, who knows? I'm like, I actually don't know for sure or not, but if
yeah,
it
no,
is the case,
I've heard stuff about the music thing, but
it's largely why they're also like the reason why Earthbound will never get translated, the reason why Mother 3 will never get translated.
Michael
but Earthbound,
Jackson made some
Yeah.
of the Sonic 3 music, I think is what
Ah,
that had to do with.
The reason-
Something to do that.
The reason why Mother 3 will never get translated is people keep bugging Reggie about it.
Yeah.
And for some reason,
He's-
apparently
he
he
doesn't
still
work
has
for Nintendo.
control of that.
Yeah.
Even though
I-
he doesn't work for Nintendo anymore.
They just want a fan
Okay.
translation from Reggie now. Apparently.
What happens is when you become the president of Nintendo and you leave, unless you die, but you like actually leave, you get to take a piece of something with you. And he took Mother 3,
Yeah,
so
he's just
Nintendo
keeping
literally can't do anything with it unless so he does have control over that.
Yeah,
That's,
he's
how that
he's
works.
playing it, and just talking about how much he likes it, but you can't play it.
Yep.
Actually, speaking of music, though, there's going to be a free concert, like symphony orchestra concert of Sonic music, and also like symphony orchestra of Sonic music, and then also like rock band playing the more rock band songs, I guess, from some of the more
Not on
recent-
Rock Band, but literally a rock band.
Yeah, and then like a DJ also playing, because of course Sonic music has gone through a lot of different styles over the years,
Yeah.
which seem really neat. I mean, I have fond memories of, obviously my cutoff for Sonic music that I would recognize is like Sonic, 2 and 3, but I'm sure the new ones also have nice music. And it's for free. It's going to be going on later on in June.
Which means it'll be streamed, I'm guessing, as well then.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it is just going to be streamed. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm assuming tickets to see them live wouldn't be free.
Yeah, not unlikely, but
And what else? Oh yeah, there's all of the like 3 or 4 different Sonic mobile games. All having various updates and additional DLC things. So whoop-de-doo. Although I remember like at the time when they announced that like Sonic whatever the big mobile one is, Sonic Blast or Sonic something. They like, and it's like an endless runner one. And I remember seeing it's like, oh yeah, of course a Sonic mobile game would be an endless runner. That he's the only one who that actually like he is
Makes sense.
fully legitimately able to make an endless runner game.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Sonic
Probably literally what he's wanted to do all this time. It's just run and run and run.
boop, 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 boop.
yeah, they said they were doing an animated thing as well, and I'm kind of excited to see more animated Sonic.
Yeah, on Netflix, Sonic Prime, which is where we got the quote, it's up to Sonic to save the universe, and along the way, experience moments of self-discovery and redemption.
See, I know you guys are like, what does he have to redeem himself for? But I'm interested to know why it's up to him to experience anything along the way.
Yeah, just close his
Like-
eyes and be like, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog!
I'm just like, some bad stuff is going to go down in like the first episode. I don't know.
Yeah. It's gonna be like Saints Row 4,
I
where
wasn't-
like,
Fast enough to save that orphanage.
Sonic's the president, and then like aliens invade, and then he gets sucked into a virtual reality thing.
I have to say the trailer for this looked a little bit like they're sort of going for like not Teen Titans Go, but like it's a very like that like super flat colors, like simplistic thing. It looks like kind of what they like that like flash animation style that was big a few I don't know 10 or 15 years ago, which is like I'm sort of less interested in, but
It's a real big change from Sonic Boom. Is the 3D
So
one?
Sonic Boom is incredibly boring to watch, and yet it has so many good little weird jokes in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate it, but I love it.
Oh yeah,
And
the writing's astounding.
Yeah, the writers seem like they're bored with it too, to be honest.
wow.
It's not a good show, and yet I had to watch all of it because I couldn't stop myself.
There's so many great quotable moments, apparently, though, from it. Like, for people who love
Yeah.
Sonic, it's like
No,
all these
there's-
great things where
there's
Knuckles
lots
is
of
like
good-
a total feminist. It's like, what?
There's a
Where
lot
did
of
that all
good
come
quotable
from?
stuff. There's I'm still really enthralled by Dr. Robotnik having the problem with trying to pick up a post office package, but they keep trying to deliver it to his house. So when he's at home, he can't get it because they keep leaving the note on his door. But when he tries to go pick it up, it's still out for delivery.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's not even. It's really dull to watch, and yet I'm really into this. I'm invested.
Imagine pitching that as a story for like a Sonic cartoon. It's like, okay,
So it's-
in this episode, it's going to be totally nuts. What's going to happen? Robotnik, his new plan.
Uh-huh.
He's gonna miss a delivery.
For like a new robot.
You
Who
never
knows?
see
don't
what it
actually
is.
tell
It's
you.
just a
You never
package.
see-
You don't ever
it's
see
just
what the
package.
package is.
Oh, okay, so it's a mystery box. I'm J.J. Abrams and I love that shit. Okay, yeah, okay.
And the whole episode
Uh-huh.
is him not getting the package, and he's super annoyed. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
This
that's
is just what happened to you, like... Didn't this just happen to you last week, Steve? Like, shit.
There's
Write
there's
what you
like
know.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of little jokes where they're clearly poking fun at their own script too. And I don't know, it's just, again, I hate and love that show for some reason, and
Yeah.
and I'm excited for another animated thing
I
because
feel
of
like
it.
hate and love is sort of that's like the Sonic brand.
Yes, very much so.
I feel people who like Sonic still kind of hate it, but also like it.
I prefer to really like my shows, or to at least find something mildly interesting about them, which I guess I do for that one, but I don't typically like hate watching, and it's not like I'm hate watching it, it's just there's part of me that's like, why did I spend all my time watching this? And another part of me that's like, of course I spent all my time watching this. And I don't know how to deal with it.
And then there was also a bunch of like physical Sonic releases. They're doing stuff, including the super sweet bling chain with Sonic, like bedazzled, jeweled Sonic stuff. Which, to be honest, I could see certain celebrities wearing in certain circumstances.
Yeah.
Like wearing merchandise depicting pop culture things is not that unusual. I feel like that could happen. Although they would probably have it like custom made.
I do
don't know
think
if
it's
they would get
interesting.
off the shelf.
The name of the company is King Ice, because that's what, this kind of the kind of bejeweled things tend to all be referred to as ice, right? Diamonds are ice and that kind of thing. But now the popular term for it is that because you're dripping with ice, you have so much ice on you that you're just dripping with it. And now the term drip refers to the amount of like ostentatious accessories that you might be carrying on you. It's like, look at his drip. And I'm like, it's a good thing that this company started a few years ago when it was popularly known as Ice, because otherwise they'd be known as King Drip,
Not good.
which is not as appealing, I think, as King Ice.
And there's also the Sonic Encyclopedia, which
It's a
I
good
think
name.
is a solid name. That is actually like
Yeah.
a legitimately good name. which is like a thing with concept art and all the talks about all the different enemies and stuff. Little like whatever commemorative coffee table type book. So there was also and then of course there was this teaser thing at the end, which was like, but there's one more thing. Sonic exists.
Yes. Oh my
And
god,
it's
is
like,
that Sonic's
that
music
Sonic?
and shoes?
Sonic is gonna be in a thing? Woo! Like, it's the
Yeah.
it's saying like, if you're Nintendo and you do an entire thing and then at the end you just show like Samus in the morph ball and
Yeah.
that's it, the crowd just blows up.
Yeah.
But if you go,
they showed a logo and crowd blew up. Like,
but if you're Nintendo and you're like, Mario
Yeah.
might be in something in the future,
Yeah.
then the crowd is going to be like, yes. And that's sort of it's like that's sort of the thing where it's like, why did you even show this? Like, it's not even clear that it's a video game. It could be part of the new movie.
I hope that it's just a troll. That it was like, oh, we've got one more thing. What is it? Well, it's a teaser for some other thing that Sonic's going to be in that we can't actually talk about. But hey, look, it's Sonic. It's like, well, what did this have to... Did they just troll us with like, we did a whole thing about Sonic and then here's one more thing and oh, it's also Sonic? Like, I mean...
But but like if their entire announcement thing had been, here's a collection of some old games, we're doing some animation stuff, we're doing mobile games, costumes in other games, and not one new game.
Yeah.
And this idea is supposed to be like, oh, and our one more thing is that we're working on a new Sonic game, like a new title.
Right.
That's exciting. Now, of course, it is a little weird because I've said at some point, whenever in the last couple of 48 hours, it just looks like you're trying to prove that Sonic is alive, but we know he's alive.
Yeah. And there's this other...
this does seem to be a new game. A new Sonic game is what people generally think it is. So that was sort of what they were doing, but they were keeping it a little too close to the chest. They could have at least said, new Sonic game. Is it going to be 3D?
Yeah.
Is this just a cutscene from the Sonic game? Maybe the Sonic game just starts with Sonic, because Sonic running in 3D at the beginning of a regular 2D Sonic game has happened before in the actual games.
I added a link to the document underneath that part of the script.
Under the coming up.
Yeah, under the coming up, because there is a thing where people... it's supposedly being called Sonic Rangers, and their own PR team has leaked their title. Yeah,
there was a leaked 4K version of the trailer, and if you look inside the metadata for the trailer, there's a bunch of messages that call it Sonic Rangers.
I feel that was like the PR team being like, well, we didn't put the title on it? Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody leak it right now.
Yeah, I mean, and that could just be a project name that's not necessarily a title, because we do that. That happens as well.
It's as believable as any other Sonic title, I think.
Yeah.
I was reading tweets last night where someone was like, okay, so there was a rumor speculation leak thing back in January, apparently, where someone had called it Sonic Rangers, and I don't know how true this is, but they were like, the speculation in that was that this would be an open world game and all this other stuff, and like, well, open world games are a popular thing if you haven't done them yet.
At least with Sonic, like, you wouldn't need fast travel.
Yeah,
because he's fast.
Maybe it'll be a Sentai game.
Okay, if they made a Sonic Sentai game, I would probably legally have to buy it.
Yeah.
I think that's in my contract somewhere with the universe. I have many contracts with many entities.
You have a contract with Sega?
No, with the universe. Yes. Sega is just part of the universe. It doesn't own the universe yet.
Anyway, I've had enough of talking about Sonic.
Yeah.
You would.
Oh wait, except
Oh no.
the original voice actor for Sonic,
Oh god,
Yes.
this is so dumb.
who retired at the beginning of the year, is coming out of retirement. Which seems
Yes, this is why I find this silly, because at the beginning of the year there were some articles that were like, "Oh no, the voice actor for Sonic has retired from playing Sonic. What does this mean?" And I'm like, it means he's not playing Sonic. Like what? And now it's like, oh, now he's back. And like, or I guess maybe he didn't know if he would get to play Sonic
Ever again.
yeah. So this is it's one of those kind of non-stories that they tried to like turn into a thing.
This is the English guy. This is Roger something Smith.
Roger
his
Craig
name.
Smith, yeah.
Thank you.
No, I think his middle name being something.
Yeah. And good for Roger Craig Smith. I imagine there was this whole thing where it's like he's no longer playing Sonic, and they're gonna find new people to play Sonic, and then probably fan outcry, no, we love him as Sonic, and they're like, well, we don't have anything coming up that has Sonic's voice in it yet, and now they do.
Maybe.
So it's like, oh,
Or-
we'll have him back.
Or maybe he did really retire, and they they tried to find a replacement. They didn't find one they liked, and they paid more money to not retire.
It largely just could have been like he was under contract to do the voice for a certain number of years, and the contract just expired, and it's like, so I guess I'm not doing Sonic anymore.
Yeah, it's just January till the end of May is a very small retirement period.
I feel like he I feel like I don't have a strong conception of what Sonic's voice is, except for maybe like the cartoons, which I don't know if it's the same guy. Like I don't really remember what he sounded like in the video games.
Yeah, apparently
Just,
people love Jaleel White as Sonic
sassy.
because Jaleel White played him. So, but I don't know in what cartoon he played him. So,
He was
not familiar with
disrespectful.
do you remember Steve Urkel?
He had attitude.
I do remember Steve Urkel.
That's Jaleel White.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
he's a super cool guy actually.
yeah. He had to do that voice for how many seasons on Family Matters? He doesn't sound like that at all when he talks normally.
Well, no,
but-
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
I'm surprised when people do those kinds of voices and then you find out that that's actually just their voice. Like Sugar from YTV
Or like
whatever.
Kate McCucci.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some other stuff that isn't Sonic.
Or Kristen Shaw.
Anyway,
Anyway, yeah.
This is just a fun little story about Street Fighter 2. That there was a in the original version of Street Fighter 2, as in the original
game.
arcade cabinets, and possibly even like the first revision of the original arcade cabinets. There was there was this rumor going on that basically Zangief, who's the big wrestler guy, and E Honda were didn't work as a matchup because Zangief could
Grab E Honda.
repeatedly completely destroy E Honda in a way that the other player could not recover from. And it turns out that in the original version of Street Fighter 2, that was indeed the case. Zangief's pile driver move has enough range, and E Honda is fat enough.
Yeah.
His hitbox is slightly larger than all the other fighters' hitboxes. And so in their starting positions, Zangief's has the
Spinning
range
pile driver, yeah.
to spinning pile driver E Honda in their starting positions, and then he can just repeat it over and over and over again because in the original Street Fighter 2 you couldn't defend from a throw or a move like that when you were down.
Yeah. So he would do it, and then you would fall. And as E Honda is starting to get back up again, it's like he can grab him again as he's getting back up, because it's like you can't defend from grapples. They had to add that in a later revision.
Yeah. So he could, yeah. I just, I like these little bits of, especially little bits of like weird game trivia that is revealed like so many years later by people either finding the original stuff or talking to the developers or different things. Like what
Like
was
this only works with this pairing, right?
So
Like
yeah, so
yeah, so
the,
it's only these two. It's because E Honda's hitbox was a little bit bigger than the other
right.
players.
So if this was a thing that was kept within like a fighting meta, this would just mean that nobody would ever pick E Honda as a fighting character.
in case you went up against Zangief.
Well,
exactly.
because if you're picking first, then someone's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
pick Zangief.
So the idea is that there's what's called in Street Fighter and probably in other fighting game things, there's what's called a 10-0 matchup, where what if two players, not CPUs, but two players are controlling either side of a matchup, is there a matchup of characters where it's always going to be one guy over another 10 out of like a best of 10? It's always going to be like this guy will win 10 out of 10 times. I'm assuming not best of 10, but it's like 10 out of 10 times he's always going to win. Is there such a matchup that exists like that? And somebody had put out a bounty to say, can somebody find me evidence of a 10-0 in Street Fighter 2? And so, and they, for £100, I'm going to pay £100 to see if somebody can do this. And like 12 days later on Twitter, somebody's like, I found it. It's in the Super Nintendo beta ROM of Street Fighter 2. I found this matchup. And so they're like, okay, show me what it is. Well, it's Zangief Honda, and this exists. It's like, well, it doesn't exist in the full one. It's like, no. I mean, like, there were lots of bugs in the original Street Fighter 2 arcade. And some of those bugs obviously are going to come over to the beta, but then something get fixed in the actual release of Super Nintendo Street Fighter 2. But if you, apparently with the ROMs that we have for Street Fighter 2 arcade, this matchup isn't 10-0. This spinning pile driver thing where he can grab him from right across the stage and do the spinning pile driver isn't a thing. As far as people are saying, it's like Street Fighter 2 arcade ROMs we have don't show that. So what it probably is a Street Fighter 2 early arcade ROM that no one's ever dumped. And it might be a beta, or it might be an original release that we don't actually have a thing of, because it might be a case of we made prototype versions of this game, we put it out in arcades everywhere, and players discovered through playing it that you could do this, Zangief Honda, and that's how the idea of it started to spread, which is why people would know that this existed. But that meant that when the real game was released, and I'm speculating here that when the real game is released, Capcom has already revised it and taken that out. So the prototype versions might be the ones, or the early betas, or whatever the testing versions of the game had this issue. That's where people learned about it, but we never saw them go worldwide. Or maybe they did go worldwide because they got sold to other places.
That like pre-internet like rumor thing.
Yeah.
Seriously, a guy I know saw somebody who did this.
Yeah. And so now that they've proven it, it's like, well, the Super Nintendo beta would have been based off of the arcade games, and the arcade games have a ton of bugs, and the Super Nintendo version has a ton of bugs, and so maybe they pulled this in from the beta, because nobody would have been able to play the beta in their homes. They would have had the actual release of the game. So yeah, one of those, word of mouth spread the rumor. I
spent actually quite a bit of time trying to get that Mew out from under that pickup truck.
I was trying to remember what game it was, because we did a story many years ago. There was sort of a similar idea. Was that I think it was a Street Fighter game that there was a thing where there was something that randomly happens in it one way or another.
Right.
And it was or Street Fighter or a fighting game or something. And now 25 years later or whatever, the developer revealed it's like it wasn't random at all. It was like it was just based on like there was like a sequence that had happened or something like there's little things like that where it's just like, yeah, it totally is a thing.
Yeah, you can set that up if you need to. You just have to do these specific things. Oh, really?
Yeah, was it Mortal Kombat, the like test your might thing, where it was like it didn't actually matter how you did it? It always like it worked the same way. I don't know, something like that.
All right.
All right, what else we got going on here? mentioned last week briefly that Amazon was rumored to be acquiring MGM. They did for $8.45 billion. So good for them, I guess.
I suppose.
Not video game news, but pop culture related, I suppose. I don't really have anything to add to that.
Well, they have set everything up. They're waiting for approval. So it's like you can't turn on Amazon Prime Video tomorrow and all of James Bond is going to show up there. They basically have signed all the deals between the companies. Now they're waiting on approval to that. It's like, yes, you can go ahead and do this. So I think the FTC has to be in on that or something.
Pokemon stuff. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl it's not a new thing. They've been announced. They were announced already, but they're going to be remakes of Diamond and Pearl, of course. But they're going to be releasing a combo pack of both.
Yep.
Which seems wrong to me.
Oh, I mean, they've done it with other Pokemon games.
I feel like choosing which one you were gonna was like part of the whole thing. That you like choose which one, and then you get like a friend to get the other one, and then
there's always been
because there's only
dynamically
there's only a couple of Pokemon different between the two, right?
Yeah, there's generally like a few, and then there's some that only evolve when you trade them, and some other weirdness that we could spend hours on. But the combo pack thing is kind of so. Dynamically, yes. The idea is that you get one, your friends get different ones, and then you trade Pokemon, and it's a good social experience, or you use online trading and whatever. But there's always been people who, as gamers, are collectible,
right,
for everything. And I've had a couple of friends who are so into Pokemon, they've always bought both games when they come out, and then the third revision one if that one happens, and that as well. I'm not one of those people. I'm not, and generally, I think they know that because the dual packs they've always released generally aren't different in price as just buying both of them.
Yeah.
So it's not actually like a deal.
No, but I mean, I've done it with before where it's just like, oh well, because the combo pack sometimes is just both games.
In a box,
in a box. So I have done it where it's like, oh well, I will buy that, and then my friend will buy the other one off me,
right?
Because we're saving on shipping or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is literally for people who want to buy all of them.
And then there's going to be this Pokemon Legends Arceus.
I think it's a soft C, isn't it?
Arceus? I've heard both.
Arceus?
But I don't want to make claims about which one it is.
I'll look it up on the web.
I don't want to listen to the chat on this one.
Anyway, I feel like in this Pokemon that characters weren't voiced, so who knows? But anyway, this actually sounds pretty neat. It's actually like a different kind of game. Like it's not like a standard Pokemon game. I like the Pokemon Company describes it as fusing action and role-playing game elements. So, when action RPG?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Literally, yeah. And it's supposed to be...
No, it's a different thing. It's a thing that you haven't heard of before.
Sounds like it's an open world setting. Building on the wild area introduced in Sword and Shield.
Yeah, which is supposed to be kind of an open world thing.
Yeah. But it takes place not in the Galar region. It takes place in the Sinnoh region, but long before the events of Pokemon and Diamond and Pearl take place.
Yeah. So Diamond and Pearl remakes are coming out November 19th, I think, and Legends is January 28th. And the thing is, Nintendo basically sent out an email to anyone who's got the signed up email to say, hey, we're doing this thing, and their Twitter account gave that information, and that wrecked, I think, a lot of people because they were expecting we would get maybe a Pokemon Direct thing soon, because typically we get one around this time as we get close to E3. But also, many people weren't expecting January.
Maybe they mean that. Maybe that just means that they're going to do a Pokemon Direct with all like the big news.
Yeah.
Like in
Well,
the
that's
same
what people speculate about E3 for Nintendo.
in the same way that they announced the Sonic yogurt collaboration before the Sonic. They didn't want to
Exactly.
take time during
You
the big
see-
Sonic event to do the yogurt collaboration. They wanted to get
Paul,
that out there beforehand.
Yeah.
Nintendo
To
has
build
been
hype.
suddenly tweeting a lot about all of their projects, and they're getting the small news out of the way so that in E3 they will tell us all about all of the big news, even though they probably won't. So don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
And
the
remember-
Nintendo free blowjob machine is coming.
Yeah, remember
Not everybody
if,
wants a fucking blowjob.
if it's not if they don't have a new upgraded Switch, then they have betrayed us all.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so Switch rumors started bounding around yesterday as well because there was a new article basically saying, I think, the same things, except now the speculation rumor mill is that they will announce it before E3
Mm-hmm.
and that it's going to come out in like September or October. And so the places that I watch suddenly got very hyped up about like, well, they're going to announce it later today because, and that happens a lot. Like there's a rumor and then like the announcement happens like the next day thing because sometimes they're real, sometimes they're not, whatever. Yesterday, Nintendo was tweeting like once an hour
Oh, right.
about just Skyward Sword and Shin Megami Tensei and like Pokemon and like basically all the things they have coming out that everyone already knows about. And the forum I watched, people were watching and were just mad with like, why aren't they announcing it already? I know it's supposed to be announced. The rumor happened. I'm like, the rumor's been happening for 3 years. I mean, it's going to happen eventually,
Yeah.
probably at this rate, but thing. And then last night there was like Amazon Mexico listing supposedly thing
For the
that got
new
tweeted
Nintendo
for the
Switch Super.
the new Nintendo Switch Pro,
Oh, Pro. Sorry. Yes. The
which
new
is
Super.
the worst name ever, which could just be a placeholder, or and then they changed that listing name so it says dummy something else, dummy Nintendo something,
Yeah.
which is even funnier.
The
And-
Nintendo
and-
Dummy.
And it's like, yeah, okay, it could technically, it could be a placeholder listing because they know it's coming. It also could be, because this happens sometimes, people make placeholder listings when rumors and leaks start happening for things because they want to be prepared to put the thing out when the thing gets announced.
Yeah.
Or they want
Could be either one.
they want, for example, people who are speculating on it to come to their website.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, it's been
Yeah.
a wait already.
Yeah,
It
they
is
should
pronounced-
do. Yeah, they should start tweeting things like, "Yeah, there's a new Nintendo Switch Pro controller coming out."
Yeah.
Well, in the article that talked about it, called it the Super Nintendo Switch, which comes from specific places that I follow. That I'm like, oh, it's gotten out
That's
into
a
the
fun name,
wider
yeah.
world. Has it? Oh, you're all watching the same forums and places that I am. I see. Okay, but I mean, I like it as a name. I like it better than some of the other names I've heard.
It is pronounced Arceus.
Arceus.
Yeah. There it is. It is because, well, in Japanese it's Arceus is how it's pronounced. It's so because the C part is represented by se. They're using the se katakana in there, so it's Arceus. And but there have been instances, apparently Anime Dub have used the hard C for it because nobody told them.
I mean, that happens.
That happens
a lot
sometimes.
in dubs.
Yeah.
I'm probably just going to keep calling it Arceus. Or what I keep doing to avoid this conversation completely is just calling it Pokemon Legends, because there's not 2 games
Yeah.
for this one, so I don't have to define them.
I really think that if there's going to be a new Switch coming anyway, that they're gonna do their best to keep the same form factor thing, but then also try to advertise it. And like the box art and everything else is going to be different enough that people can tell this is a different product altogether.
The rumor thing is that suggests that they'll phase out the Switch in favor of this one,
Yeah,
and
I mean-
that it's the same form factor, but the bezels are smaller.
They would just, but they
and
would follow
such.
the thing that they did with the 3DS, with the new Nintendo 3DS, where it's like the old 3DS is still in the channel and we'll just sell through until that's gone, and the new one is now in, and we'll just
Yeah,
have
the,
those.
the difference is the Switch could sell through very easily
Yeah.
because it's hard to get one sometimes,
Yeah.
depending where you live.
Yeah. And we could talk, speculate on that, and it's not really worth
Nah,
it.
we've done that before already.
And the last bit of news I have here is the other thing that I thought was funny, especially since they're playing it on Let's Nope. Resident Evil the Resident Evil folks are showing up on Dead by Daylight, which is the sort of asymmetrical multiplayer horror game. They've had the people from Saw and different monsters have shown up and stuff, and so. And when I say the folks from Resident Evil, it's on both sides. So we got Leon Kennedy and Jill Valentine on the survivors side. And then Nemesis is showing up on the other side, who's the big guy with tentacles and goes, SARS. Stars. Wait, stars.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
I have SARS.
Ah.
That's why I look like this. Umbrella gave me SARS.
And yeah, I played like a very tiny bit of Dead by Daylight, but
free or for pay? Have they not been clear?
I think this is a free update. Oh, and also zombies are going to be there, which apparently it seems like a game like Dead by Daylight would have already had zombies, but apparently...
I thought Dead by Daylight already had zombies.
Well, I thought
I thought it was a zombie game.
No, the whole point of Dead by Daylight is it's 5 people who are trying to escape a killer, and the one killer.
Oh,
it's that
right.
hide and seek
Okay.
game. Yeah.
Right.
The hide and seek with murder game.
I have heard of this. I just forgot that was the one.
So, normal hide and seek.
Right.
Yeah, how you've played it back in high school. Weird
That's why I
thing
don't
out of
have any
nowhere.
friends anymore.
The Maricat just pointed out that GOG has now started doing their own Betrayal at Grandeur playthrough. Just around the same time I did mine. I guarantee you they're going to finish before I do.
The hell, man! They had
That's a promise
years.
I can make to you.
They had 20 years,
right?
And now they're just coming on to like mess with your street. That's
I made it.
You made it.
I made
cool
a goddamn
again.
purchase, and they're like, somebody bought this game from 20 years ago. This was a good game. We should do a playthrough of this.
Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what happened.
It's that thing where like about like Among Us as a game is about like 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah.
And then about a year ago, some streamer like started playing it and got it really. People were like, "Wow, that's really fun!" And then it like blew up in popularity. That's what's going to happen. Betrayal at Condor. You are patient zero of the Betrayal at Condor Twitch. Excitement.
If they wanted to do a playthrough, why didn't they just goddamn ask me? They could have just given me a copy of the game and we could have gone from there, right?
If I play a game that's new before everybody else, and then everybody else starts playing it, can I make that claim too?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if it helps more if the game is like 20 years old and nobody's playing it, then suddenly people start playing it after you start. That helps.
I can't wait though, because if this becomes a thing, if this gets like super if this gets super popular and it means that they decide to remake the game, I'm just gonna sit here and grind my teeth and be like, we've waited so long and I'm so happy for this, but Jesus, it's been 30 years. Like,
I don't think that your game playthrough is gonna have that effect that suddenly they decide to remake the game. I think that's just, if they remake the game, it was a thing they were just planning to do in the first place.
Yeah, maybe.
Betrayal at Condor 2.
More betrayals.
Well, that's actually called Crondor the Assassins. That book exists.
Yeah.
They could just make the sequel from
based,
that book.
It's I didn't realize it's based on a book.
It's not. They made the game.
Oh, Paul.
So they made the game.
I'm sorry.
Raymond E. Feist did not write for the game. They wrote the game themselves.
Okay.
Then Raymond E. Feist, who writes the Midkemia books, he novelized the game and said it was book 1 of the Rift War Legacy, and wrote 2 more books after that.
Good for him.
So there's literal sequels that exist after the game, and I think it's so interesting that they were like, yeah, you can totally go ahead and novelize the game, and then he based on more things. And what kills me about it is that they didn't follow the writing style, like they didn't follow his writing style, and I always thought it was weird, but now that I realize the reason they didn't follow his writing style was because that he wasn't the one writing the game in the first place. Because his writing style is every time he starts a chapter, he writes noun verb. Like noun verbed is what he writes. It's always somebody did something or something is doing something. It's always 2 words. Sometimes there's been a couple where it's been 3. And there was one where it was an entire sentence, which was super weird. But every chapter of every book he writes starts somebody somethinged.
And if you enjoyed that monologue, you can find more of them on the Play It Forward streams that Beach has been doing. Maybe. I don't know if he actually even talks. Maybe he's silent.
Which actually brings us to what's coming up next, which is nothing tonight. So no Friday Night Paper Fight tonight, because there was much Magic playing earlier on in the day. But
that should have been enough for you troglodytes.
Wrong stream.
Right.
Only some of them are troglodytes. Only the people who are watching Adam's stream. I don't know what percentage that was. But tomorrow evening, it's Betrayal at Krondor. We can find out all about the 2nd and 3rd books, perhaps.
He's in chapter 2.
We are 10 steps away from finishing chapter 2. Like 10 actual literal in the game walking steps. All I have to do is go into a city. We're going to end chapter 2 and chapter 3 starts on Saturday.
Is the city Krondor?
No.
Oh.
We've been to Krondor, Paul. That's old shit. We don't do that anymore.
8 to 9 episodes to get there, but he got there.
The betrayal has happened?
Yes.
How unexpected.
We were the betrayal.
The betrayal was us all along.
Yes.
Oh, no.
My goodness.
That's a double betrayal.
I don't think that's the total. I don't think it's the actual betrayal. I think the betrayal might even be coming. I don't know how the. I don't know the plot of the entire game, but we have already done the betrayal part.
The betrayal was itself a betrayal because it wasn't a real betrayal.
Right, exactly.
Wheels within wheels.
I can tell you why it's a betrayal, but it's more funny to just do this.
And then on Sunday, it's Wonder Song.
Yeah, Rhythm Cafe.
Which Ian was saying you've been getting a lot of people excited for this one.
We have been having this one added to our tell us the rhythm games exist spreadsheet for a long time. I actually streamed this on my home stream, so I know how much of a rhythm game it's not and how much of a percentage of a rhythm game it is. But this will give me something to do before I have to pick another game, and it's still a good game. So yeah, there you go, chat. You're getting what you want.
Which is not a rhythm game on Rhythm Cafe.
It's got
That's
rhythm
never happened
game
before.
Elements. Hey, Yakuza was legit.
And then on Sunday, Ben Wheeler is going to be starting on his next series for Is This Your Card? Yu-Gi-Oh! Because he thought Sunday was the 1st of June.
What?
He's trying to do them like every game for a month, and he thought Sunday was the beginning of June. And
it's not even the last day of May.
Nope. That just means you get more Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Instead of Hearthstone, I don't know. I don't know if that's an improvement or not, but whatever the case.
From what I understand, he was done with Hearthstone.
I think they're going to announce the new June drop at the end of May. Don't quote me on that.
And then on Monday,
what?
June. People are asking when's the new June drop, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure the new June drops at the end of May.
For Hearthstone?
No, the new June 1st will happen at the end of May.
How do you know what's going to happen in the calendar?
I'm just saying I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on that.
The rumor is the 1st of June will be after the end of May. But
yeah, I know we don't technically indulge in speculation here on CheckPoint, especially in the up next segment. But I'm pretty sure that the new June will drop at the end of May.
Look, I want to hear it from the calendar itself. That's and fair. Not read rumors. That's all. Mm-hmm.
Why won't you confirm or deny the rumors?
I love this. I have an uncle who works at Big Calendar. That's how I know. Anyway.
Can't Draw Horses Club on Monday. Corey and friend or friends will be drawing things that are or are not horses.
Potentially enemies.
Can you? I guess the first step is can you guess which things are horses and which things aren't? Once you pass that threshold for like horse likeness, then you can move on.
As I understand it, it always turns into trying to draw a horse, which I think is kind of a nice segment.
Just because you can't do it doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
You should try, yeah.
I learned that from video games. There's so many times I keep trying to do a thing that I can't do, and eventually I get there sometimes.
Yeah.
And then on Monday we have our next Candlekeep Mysteries session called Book of the Raven, DM'd by Nelson.
Oh, nice!
Super cool. Yeah. He hasn't DM'd.
First.
I believe he is he has experienced DMing, but he has not DM'd for us before, so that'll be sweet.
Yeah, well, first on the show, right?
Yeah. I do not know what the full cast is for that one, but it will be great. I guarantee it.
So send your complaints to Paul if it's not.
Yes.
You can send them to him on his Twitter.
Yep. Just DM me on Twitter. And then on Tuesday, it is 9:00, followed by more Control on Talking Simulator, followed by Resident Evil 6 on Let's Know. Or maybe they'll actually be playing Dead by Daylight. Who knows? It's got all the same characters, apparently.
Maybe they wouldn't notice the difference if we set it up for them.
Game is a lot more active all of a sudden. It's weird.
It's a lot more people in here all of a sudden, yeah.
Now, here are some awesome people who subscribed during the stream.
Woo!
Yay!
I like that we use this music for the sub-roll as well, even if it isn't live. It's good music.
I initially didn't have music, and it felt like weird. People just kind of while the scroll happened. So
yeah,
it's your 102 years.
Ooh, nice
Birthday cake.
Meeps a lot. Brave Sir Meeps a lot. 62 months. Thank you.
Shane Lee attack. Did I just activate somebody by doing that? I hope not. They've been here 2 years.
I don't know. I think we have the more mundane phrases for that. The ghost with the most. 44 months. I'm glad that ghost has the most.
Mm-hmm.
Best spreadsheet ghost
proves
out
that you
this
can
probably.
take it with you.
Yeah.
And thanks, Scott Filler, for the 100 bits.
Woo!
Right there at the end. I can still see them on my screen.
Who says, still doing this because funny AF.
Yeah.
I agree.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Like I said, this is the end of our streaming day for today, but more streams coming up tomorrow. And purchase, yes, we have DVDs. You can get all of the DVD, not just like half of it.
Yeah.
DVDs and Blu-rays, if you have previously, either as the Kickstarter or as the pre-order, gone for the DVD, and make sure
there should be an email waiting for you.
Respond to that email. If you have not, contact PMC, and they should be able to let you tell you what the issue is, or pass it along to Beej, I guess, if there's more confusion there. But anyway,
let them know if you're supposed to be getting one.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Talk to you all later.